what normally happens with players around the world, if you're at a Man City or a Man United or a Liverpool or an Arsenal and you're not quite good enough, you will drop down either to a lower Premier League team or you'll go into the Championship or even League One or League Two. But, and this is the key, those clubs are still full-time professional. So you are still learning your trade in a full-time professional environment. We don't have that. So George Timoteo, yes, he did go to Germany, but he had to drop back into the NPL competition. Sydney Olympic was his club. And he got that opportunity with Schalke because Sydney Olympic actually have a tie-in with that club. They have a sister club relationship or some sort of partnership. But George actually dropped out of the professional ranks. And we see too many young players do that, not because necessarily they're not good enough, but maybe because they're not quite ready, and they need another home to go to in a professional environment in Australia to make that transition, to develop, to get ready to play at the highest level. Now, George, has been fortunate in many ways that he's found a different route back to professional football, but a lot of players don't. Once they drop out of the A-League system, they drop out of football altogether. They play semi-pro because they can't afford to keep going. They have to earn a living. This is where we need the commercial side of the game to improve. We need a second division. We need more full-time professional clubs, which will in turn give more opportunities to players and coaches and administrators and commentators and broadcasters and, written press and all that sort of stuff. The football economy here is tiny and it's shrinking. And that's a big worry. It needs to be going the other way. And this is why this season is so important for the A-League in particular, with the TV deal coming to an end. They've got to try and get some value back into that competition and grow it, get the metrics moving the other way. Because at the moment, we're in a bit of a death spiral and it's a real concern.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, as you mentioned probably just before as well, the lack of, publicity, even through this most recent A-League season. Obviously, I think a lot of people who follow the game in the domestic league quite closely would know how much of a disaster the season opening was. And even, in the lead up, I think you must have, I'm thinking sure you were on Twitter and you shared it about the lack of, articles and, media presence promoting the league when it comes into comparison. There was, I could say, barely anything there, which would probably be, probably above and beyond what was actually done. But it's showing that we really are in a really interesting position and probably a scary position where, we want a lot of supporters and, everyone in the country probably wants the league to do well. But how's the best way to put it? We're in a position where, I guess, coupled with coronavirus, it's a very innocuous position where, not having, I guess, fans was always a problem, but having a certain percentage of fans getting back in, stadiums, players, and I feel like it's a weird position. I know you probably have a better I guess, knowledge on the league itself, but where do you see the league? Obviously, the future, you don't want to be looking too far into the future considering what we're in now, but do you really have much, a massive fear for the league if nothing gets done properly, I guess, in the near future and soon, really?
Well, the league has got 6 months to save itself, basically. The deal with Fox Sports is up in June. At the moment, there is no competitive tension in the marketplace for those rights. So, the A-League owners who now have full control, this is what they wanted. They've got 6 months essentially to put some value back into the league and to create a market whereby broadcasters will be interested in showing it, and they've mooted this themselves, they're going to show it themselves, do an OTT platform and sell direct to consumer. But that's a big ask to set that up in the space of 6 months. My gut feel is that it will be some sort of a partnership. There might be some games that go on an OTT platform, but it will be in conjunction with a partnership with a traditional broadcaster, which might pay some money to help fund the clubs. But yeah, I mean, this is, effectively a make or break season. The reason for that, of course, is the vast majority of the media is owned by News Corp, and News Corp, has not got a huge love for football at the moment. A lot of football journalists, myself included, were let go we're no longer employed in the game. As far as I can tell, there isn't a single full-time football journalist left at News Corp, which, in comparison to recent years, is a scandal for the game. Really, there's still a few left at Fairfax and one or two other places besides, but the football media industry is almost dead. Um, and the game is suffering a lack of oxygen because of that in large part. So, the game's got a big problem, or the league's got a big problem at the moment, and I'm yet to see any meaningful solutions. They say they were waiting to get the keys to the car, that they can be independent, and now we can put our plans into place. Well, better get on with it, guys, because the clock's ticking.